Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Let me adjust this a little bit. Sorry for the little issue there. Had a little problem with OBS and YouTube communicating with each other right there in the beginning. I noticed when the intro was playing, OBS was saying something about it was experiencing a connection problem with YouTube. So that's what was going on. So thank you guys for being patient, and we are gonna get underway here. It is once again Friday night. It is 7 p.m. That can only mean one thing: time for our weekly 1 hour live stream. Joining us on the shelf this week, all hail everyone to the Queen. We are in the presence of a Queen. Queen Mary is with us. The Big U, SS United States, got some news on the Big U this week. And last but certainly not least at the bottom, Lucy's sister, RMS Mauritania, one of my personal favorite canard ships as well. How's everyone's week been? Hope you guys have been doing well. What's up, Wolf, Steve, Mark, Carr, Karen, Max, Matt? We got a nice group here starting off this week. Guys, so I don't know if you guys heard, but there was some kind of sobering news Monday that broke concerning the SS United States. So, as you may know, because I've mentioned this before, the SS United States, well, the Conservancy had requested that their stay at the pier in Philadelphia be extended for a few months so they could continue in hopes of finding a new home for the vessel. The judge ruled that the September 12th deadline stays. They've got to be gone by September 12th, which is now about 3 weeks. However, I got an email from the Conservancy yesterday concerning a big update from them. I am going to go ahead and read that to you guys right now. It is a little lengthy, but it's got some great information on it. Just bear with me a sec while I pull it up. And let's see. I'll try and hit on all the important parts. Let's see, court hearing. Earlier this week, the Conservancy argued in U.S. District Court that the significant difficulties associated with moving the 990-foot vessel, including an unusually active Atlantic hurricane season, made the court's September 12th deadline very challenging. While the court ruled that the original deadline stands, Judge Brody indicated that if the Conservancy enters into a contract to move the vessel to a new location by September 12th, She expects that a good faith negotiation be undertaken to allow the ship's safe and proper relocation at a later date. Judge Brody also indicated the parties will likely be called back to court in early September, excuse me, to discuss their progress. Unfortunately, Penn Warehousing continues to mischaracterize the Conservancy's stewardship of the vessel and our serious efforts to comply with the court's order. Let's skip down. Let's see. While the ruling is a partial win for the Conservancy, our Board of Directors is now legally obligated to advance alternative scenarios for the historic ocean liner's future if a new pier cannot be found in very short order, including converting the ship into an artificial reef or recycling the vessel. Pier search update. Our search for a temporary or permanent pier location continues with even more urgency. In the wake of the recent article about the Conservancy's efforts on the front page of the New York Times and the full-page advertisement in last Sunday's New York Times, placed thanks to generous backing of an individual donor, we've received dozens of new leads and suggestions for potential piers from across the country and from international sources. We've also welcomed many new supporters captivated by the story of America's flagship. At this time, we are preparing for a meeting with the highest levels of the U.S. Navy to further discuss potential temporary locations that could be available and suitable for the SS United States. The Conservancy also continues to conduct outreach to many private pier owners and has also held discussions at the highest levels in South Carolina, Massachusetts, New York, New Jersey, Maryland, Virginia, Georgia, Florida, Alabama, and other coastal states. While our deadline is rapidly approaching, we continue to explore all options to ensure no potential berth is overlooked. $250,000 has been donated. Fundraising update. Relocating a ship the size of the Big U is complex and costly. It requires funds for insurance, tugs, surveys, and dock preparations to ensure the ship's safe passage to a new home. Our campaign to pay for a potential move and other important expenses has now crossed the $250,000 mark. In addition, if we succeed in securing a new berth for the ship, 2 anonymous donors have committed additional pledges totaling well into the 6 figures. This combination of factors gives us renewed hope and energy as we continue our work to find a new location for the ship, build our curatorial collection, and advance plans for a museum. Alternative scenarios. The Conservancy's highest priority remains locating a safe, temporary, or permanent location for the ship and ultimately her redevelopment as a dynamic, stationary, mixed-use destination. However, given the time constraints imposed by Penn Warehousing's eviction notice and the subsequent court order, the Conservancy's Board of Directors is now legally obligated to further advance alternative options for the SS United States, including reefing or recycling the historic ocean liner. We can confirm that we are negotiating with 2 counties in Florida interested in converting the ship into an artificial reef in the Gulf of Mexico. While converting the vessel into a reef is clearly not our first choice for the future of America's flagship, it presents several advantages over scrapping the vessel, including the activation of her economic and tourism potential. Artificial reefs also enhance marine habitat and ecosystems. These plans also encompass the Conservancy's future museum that would feature our archival and curatorial collections and educate the public about the ship's historical importance. We are heartened by the party's appreciation of the historic nature of America's flagship, and I'll stop right there. The rest is just kind of formalities. So, having said that, I'm gonna look at chat real quick, and we can get some thoughts on that. So, well, let's just start right now. What is everyone's opinion on that? How do you guys feel about what you just heard? Let's see. So far, nothing yet. Um, I pretty much have the opinion that I have always had. I'd rather see her become an artificial reef than be scrapped or, as the quote goes, turned into razor blades. But her fate is not sealed yet, not fully. I mean, it's not looking good, but it's not over and done yet. Wolf says, I don't want her to be a reef or to be scrapped. I agree completely. Steve says, being a reef would secure her existence for decades. Exactly. And again, that is better than being scrapped. One of the counties that they are talking with in Florida, I forget the name of the county, but it starts with an O. And Destin is the town, I think, like the big town that is in that county. Which, if you're looking at a map of Florida, if you're crossing into Florida from Alabama on I-10, Pensacola is the first big city you come to. It's within 20 to 30 minutes from the Alabama border. Next city after that is Destin. Reason I mention that is because if that were to happen, um, Big U would be within driving distance from me. So that's one thing. Uh, let's see. Wolf says that deadline really is a pain. Yeah, we're under a month now. So yeah, it's crunch time, like big time. Matt says, would love for the owners of the Alabama to let her dock next to the battleship. I think that would be a great option. Well, it goes without saying, Matt, I would absolutely love that. I mean, to have the Mighty A and the Big U right next to each other, I mean, jeez, that's a ship nerd's dream. And I would imagine that could potentially increase the tourism that the USS Alabama already brings in like twofold. Because they did mention Alabama. I mean, and Alabama, the Alabama coast is very small. If you're looking at a map, if you've driven the Alabama coast like I-10 from end to end in Alabama, it only takes about an hour to get through. And Alabama is essentially like chopped right down the middle where Mobile Bay is. So it would definitely be somewhere in Mobile Bay if it was on the Alabama coast. Carr, she is an old ship. She deserves some grace and being able to stay until she finds a new peer, not just kicked off because she's taking up space. She is the SS United States. She deserves to be preserved. Well said, Carr. Well said. I couldn't possibly agree with you more. I wish more people, besides all of us, felt that way. Max says, I would rather her get sunk than scrapped. I completely agree. Carr goes on, not just as some coral reef. And the thing is, you would be able to dive to the ship. That's ultimately the intention behind these counties. Steve says, Ocala, question mark. We're going to look at that, Steve, in just a minute. I'm going to pull up Google Maps. Mark says sunk, not scrapped. I mean, no, I think we all generally agree scrapping is the absolute worst case scenario that could happen. I don't think there's any disagreement there. Well, strange there's not a single place that wants her besides counties in Florida that want to sink her. Um, uh, Steve, are you available in the next few weeks? Because I've been thinking about this a lot, and Wolf's comment kind of brings it together here. And we could have a long discussion on this in detail. Why was the Queen Mary able to weather all of this and survive, whereas the big U is in the dire situation that she's in? And there's a whole lot we can expand upon in that. And I'm mentioning you because the only ship that we really have a basis for comparison for the Big U is the Queen Mary. They're both unique in a lot of ways. Most museum ships are naval vessels, and you pay a dollar fee to tour them, and you're done. You eventually leave. Whereas the Queen Mary, she's a hotel, she's an entertainment complex. I don't know, does she have a casino on her? I don't know. She is also a museum ship, not in the traditional sense, but I know you can buy a ticket. You can do a self-guided or a guided tour on the Queen Mary. um, I'd love to be able to discuss that. Wolf says, it would probably be expensive for them to keep both Alabama, Drum, and SS United States all together in the same spot. More so for the two big ships, Wolf. The Drum is on land, and it's so small, it's really not. You don't have to relocate the Drum or find extra real estate for the Drum in order to bring the big U in. Alabama is in a cofferdam. It might look like she's actually in the water, but she is not. So you would either have to park her. Well, you'd have to park her behind the Alabama if you were to put her there, because where the Alabama sits, there's a pier that extends out not too far from the ship, and it would be less than the length of the Big U. So you couldn't put the Big U in front of the Alabama, and they probably wouldn't want to do that anyway, because when you're driving I-10 and you're looking out, like when you're heading out onto the bay, Alabama is right there. I mean, she's visible, she's in view. You can't miss her. She's the state's namesake ship. It's called Battleship Memorial Park. So, Alabama would always be the main attraction, I would think. So if you're going to put the big U there, you'd have to put her behind the Alabama. Billy, what is up, my friend? How have you been? This is not a gaming channel, Billy. I'm still waiting for some more Driving with Bill Keys, by the way. Go check out Billy, guys. Bill Keys is the name of his YouTube channel. Right there, you see it. Go check out my buddy Bill Keys. Let's see. Steve says, could we do next Friday possibly? Absolutely, Steve. Absolutely. Let's plan for that. If you're sure you can make it next Friday, let's do that. Let's have a discussion about these two ships. Why is one making it? Why is one in the situation it's in? The Queen Mary. As far as people that I know, the Queen Mary better than anyone. You know what she's been through in the past. You know where she's at right now. You probably know what future plans are. So I would really like to get some input from you and get your thoughts on that. Wolf, I'd say the difference between the Big U and Queen Mary is that Queen Mary has connection to war and being seen as haunted, unlike the Big U, which has never seen war, and no one says she's particularly haunted. Possibilities, Wolf. What I'm really more wondering about is, why was Long Beach so willing to buy the Queen Mary at the end of her life, and no one ever wanted to do the same for the Big U when the end of her life came? Those could be possible reasons. That's one thing I want to explore. Steve says, I agree with you, Wolf, but there's a lot more to the story behind the Queen Mary surviving as she is. Precisely, and that's what I want to discuss with you, Steve. I'd like to get some real input from you on that. And Steve says, yep, I am totally available. Good. That's going to be next week's show, guys. Steve's going to come on, and we're going to talk about this. Let's see. Steve says, a Queen Mary in SSUS in review and survival. That's it. I love it. That's what I want to do next week. Let's see. Mark says, probably because the Queen Mary was never gutted. And I think that has a lot to do with it as well. I really do. And again, we'll talk to Steve more about that next week. In the meantime, let's see. Let's get some footage going here. That's everything I've got for the SS United States this week. Yep, Steve says all good points, so absolutely. All right. So, let's see. Matt says the Big U is too big to park on the river next to the kid. Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's not possible. Wolf says, given the Big U is gutted, you think people would be more interested, given she can be anything. And that's one of the points that I argue is, yes, she is gutted, but you have a blank canvas. I mean, really, the first thing you need to do is completely repaint the ship on the outside from stem to stern. Then you can start doing sections at a time. You don't have to redo the whole ship all at once. And she's not completely 100% gutted. She's mostly gutted, yes. But, I mean, you can start putting some rooms in there. You can do, like for hotel stay, you can put a casino in there. You have a blank canvas. And that's what I don't get. Why wouldn't anyone want to
the Olympic underwent these trials
want to look into that? You can essentially make her anything that you want her to be.
Observe her during the sea trials, vote aye or nay on her certification, and then I ride her back to Southampton. Come on, Robin, you can't mess this one up, as Claire always told me.
That was a long-winded little diatribe there by me, dialogue, whatever. So I got Honor and Glory running here for a minute. Hold on. Wolf says, maybe there will be a miracle for her in the next 3 weeks. Well, like that update said, Wolf, if they can secure a contract with a peer, even for a temporary home, two anonymous donors have said they will make a they will make contributions that would be that would put the money they've raised into the six figures. So they would have more than enough money to relocate the ship to a new home. And the judge said that if they secure a contract, she could perhaps stay at where she's at in Philadelphia a little bit longer so they can get everything ready, the surveys, get the tugs ready, get whatever pier she goes to ready. She said a good faith agreement could possibly happen. So, like I said, her fate is not 100% sealed just yet. Personally, I'm going to say, right now, I gotta say that there's an outside chance that this happens. It all depends on if they can secure that contract. Let's see. Steve says, so long as Penn doesn't do what they have stated they want to do.
But I suppose there isn't
yeah,
a reason
and what I'm assuming what you're referring to, Steve, is if the ship is at their pier one day past September 12th, they were going to impose like a $3 million fine.
I'm quite surprised by the amount of confidence the industry is
I don't know if that can be
certified yet, and her
possible,
first ticketed voyage
if
is
legally
just
they can
a
do
week
it.
from now. No room
Like
for
the judge
failure
said,
on
if they can
these
secure a
trials, I suppose.
contract to move the ship.
It's like getting dressed up for a date when you haven't
the judge has said
how do you know
they could have a good faith agreement.
I learned that one the hard way.
We don't know. So it depends on how things play out come September 12th. And in early September, which is probably, we're the 23rd? So September 1st is essentially a week from today. And it may not be on September 1st, but the judge said early September, both parties will be called back into court to basically give the judge a status update. Karen says there is background noise. Is it noise from the game, or like you guys hearing like what's going on out on the street behind me? You know, what kind of background noise? Well, basically it's a 50% chance for both possibilities.
Belfast Lock.
We have to assume that, Wolf, but we don't know that for certain.
The morning fog.
We don't know what the possibilities are. Are they in negotiations right now with one or more peers?
If he can hold off the plague.
Game noise. Okay, yeah, it's fine, guys. I'm not worried about that. I know normally I have the volume for the game muted, but it's okay. As long as you guys can hear me, we're good. Yeah, it depends on if they are in negotiations with one or more peers. And the Facebook post, well, not Facebook post, but the email also said they're in talks with the U.S. Navy. You know, where are they at in negotiations?
So doing all they can to extend
those are the things. Those are the things we don't know. And I wish they would have been a little more clear on that. I mean, aside from just we're in talks, well, you know, that's very vague, and maybe that's the only information they're allowed to give us through the process. I don't know. Mark says, "Wow, 3 million." Yes, Mark, 3 million. Steve says game volume should be lowered. Carr says,
to the aft gangway.
Let's see. Let me see if I can. Where's the volume at? Okay. I just completely muted it, guys, so that should be better. I didn't realize it was that loud. I'm actually not hearing the volume. I have all the I have that volume completely you know, I can't hear it at all. So I appreciate you guys letting me know about that. So another thing I wanted to mention, have you guys did anyone watch Mike Brady's Grand Voyage update? Because that came out a couple of hours ago. Mark says, I asked a question. Why wasn't Olympics forward A-deck promenade never enclosed like Titanic and Britannic? I had always wondered the same thing, Mark. Milan responded to your question in the Discord. Let me see if I can find his response real quick. It sounded pretty logical. Let's see. Milan said, and this is yesterday, because there was never a need for it. When Titanic's B deck was reworked to extend the cabins there, she lost her entire enclosed promenade. Thus, they solved it by enclosing part of the A deck promenade. Olympic's B deck never received this modification other than the addition of the Café Parisien and the a la carte restaurant extension, so her enclosed B deck promenade remained. Thus, there was no need to enclose her A deck promenade. So, sounds reasonable. I'm wondering if, and I didn't ask Milan if, you know, where did he get that information? But I mean, it sounds logical. Mark says, yeah, he watched Mike's video. Wolf did not. Yeah, so basically, the gist of it was he was showing off some more of the graphics for his Grand Voyage game that's coming out. Steve says agree with Milan. So yeah, I mean, like I say, it sounds perfectly logical to me. Speaking of that enclosed promenade, here's an opinion, and this is strictly an opinion based. There's no right or wrong answer to this question, since we're looking right at Titanic's forward section here, guys. Did you prefer, from just a visual point of view, did you prefer Titanic and Britannic's enclosed A-deck promenade, or do you prefer the opened up view of Olympics? There's a real nice shot of it right there. I personally prefer Titanic's look because I think it gives a little bit more of an elegance to the ship. Let's see. Mark says, cool, yeah, always wondered why. Clips, welcome. How are you doing, my friend? Welcome to the stream. Let's see. Clips says, speaking of ship type confusion, Olympic is reconcilable while some naval ships can be mistakenly they have make the same look but have some different parts. Carr says he likes the open look of Olympic more. Whereas Mark says he likes both, open and closed. Matt says, I have no preference. Variety is good. I said, I've always kind of preferred Titanic. So I mean, don't get me wrong. You guys know how much I love Olympic. I've made no qualms about that. Oh, recognizable. Okay, let me reread Clip's comment. Olympic is recognizable. While some naval ships can be mistaken, they have some same looks but have some different parts. Depends on the ships. And Wolf will be able to vouch for this. Those of us who enjoy warships as equally as we do ocean liners, there are certain ships I can look. There are certain warships I can look at it and I know exactly what ship I'm looking at, despite the fact that they have sister ships that look virtually identical. Wolf says, I've been looking at World War II U.S. warships during the post-World War II service life as of late, and I've noticed a common thing with a lot of destroyers and cruisers. Okay, well, hit us with it, Wolf. What have you noticed exactly? Max says, I really like both, but I would have to go with Titanic and Britannic's A-Deck Promenade. Yeah, I just kind of prefer it myself. But one thing, guys, I wanted to touch on with Mike's game. Towards the end of his video, he made some type of comment where he said they were going to be a lot more coy about future ships that they were going to put in the game after the initial release. There will be DLC in the game. But he made some type of comment that really, perked my ears up. And his comment was something to the effect, and I'm paraphrasing, one ship that accidentally hit a much smaller ship, like a large ship that accidentally rammed and sunk a smaller ship. Think about that. You guys can probably guess what ship instantly came to mind for me, because it's probably the same one that instantly comes to mind for you. Moonser, what's up? How are you doing, my friend? We've been talking a lot about the SS United States this week. Steve says Stockholm. Mark says Olympic. Yeah, so a large ship that accidentally rammed a smaller ship was his comment. This is instantly what popped in my head, guys. Please? Moonser's good. He said, how am I? I am doing great, Moonser. I am doing fantastic. Look at these beautiful ladies that are joining us this week. We've got the Queen. We've got the Big U joining us. Yeah, we had a big discussion on the Big U earlier. Steve said, ooh, smaller, I'm dummy. You're good. Yeah, That is the first thing that came in my mind because, truthfully, the other big thing was the game's not going to come out this year. It's going to come out sometime next year. That's what he said. So those were the biggest things I noticed. And like I say, he showed different like updates to the game, like visual updates. I mean, so Clip says, I know Melbourne HMAS Melbourne aircraft carrier accident collided with two destroyers. Really? Moonzer says, to be honest, what first came to my mind was the HMS Hawk. Well, I get why that would come to mind for you, Moonzer, but it's the way he worded his comment. A larger ship accidentally ramming and sinking a smaller ship. So Hawk was indeed smaller than Olympic, but Hawk rammed Olympic and did not sink. So I can get where there might be a little where you might get confused with the Hawk. Now I don't know for sure that it's Olympic that he's talking about, but I can't think of no other scenario off the top of my head of a larger ship accidentally ramming and sinking a smaller ship. And the key word being accidental, because you can't say Olympic based on U-103 because Olympic intentionally rammed and sunk U-103. Mark says the kitten is watching TV. NASCAR is on. There's no way NASCAR is more interesting than looking at old Reliable here. I'm just saying. Your cat needs to get its priorities straight. Clip says Melbourne collided with HMHS Voyager and USS Frank E. Evans. I've never heard of that before. Moonzer, I have photographs of Nantucket survivors in the grand staircase in color. Interesting. I wonder if those are available online. I know they're Mr. Golden. First of all, welcome, Mr. Golden, and you might have it right there. Mr. Golden says the Queen Mary rammed and sunk HMS Curacao. It might be the Queen he was talking about. Because, one thing we know for sure, as long as Mike has a working relationship with Honor and Glory, I don't think there's any chance of Titanic being in his game. Would he include Olympic in that because Olympic is so identical to Titanic? Although she's not Titanic. That's two possibilities, guys. Olympic or the Queen Mary. I completely forgot about the Queen Mary in the Curacao incident. Mark says, GM rammed a smaller ship during the war. Let's see. Carr says, I can't remember the name of the ship, but a German destroyer during World War II rammed and cut in half a smaller frigate. It's probably not that one, Carr, since this game is going to be strictly based on ocean liners. But good, that's a good one. I'm glad you pointed that out, though. Moonzer says, yes, they are. I'll send them to you after stream. Cool. Wolf says, seems like British ocean liners and cruisers don't go well together. Steve, oh God, why didn't I think of that, right? And that's the thing. Like I said, it's all in the wording. Large ship accidentally rams and sinks smaller ship. It's very possible that he was alluding to the Queen, which would be great because, we don't have Olympic in any game. Other than what Milan has done for us here, but like on an official level, we don't have Olympic in any game. We don't have the Queen Mary in any game. So hopefully someday Mike's game will be able to remedy that for us. Moonzer says, I can't even imagine the pain they went through getting sucked into them propellers. Oh, yeah, let's Britannic comes to mind when you talk about a scenario like that. I mean, Jesus, that's horrific. But yeah, I was wondering about that because I'm sure all of us are probably going to be getting that game when it comes out. Mostly, what he was showing was pictures of the Empress of Ireland and the Laconia, which are going to be two of the ships that are in the game when it releases. So that will be interesting. So I know Moonser's joining us late. We were talking about the Big U and all the news surrounding her lately, but also Steve's going to be joining me a couple of times in the next few months because we also are going to be doing a Ghosts of the Queen Mary stream. I'm real excited about that. That's going to be in October, guys. So I'm really looking forward to that. Will says, sadly, I won't be able to as I don't have a PC. Um, well, I don't know if that game's going to be on Steam Deck, but if it is, Steam Deck would be your best answer to not having a PC, Wolf, because you don't have to spend 1,500 to $2,000 on a PC. Just buy the Steam Deck, save up some money. I don't know what your financial situation is, and you don't need to share that on stream. But get yourself a Steam Deck, and any game that is compatible on Steam Deck, you essentially have PC games. And there's Mark. I'll have to get a Steam Deck system. Assuming that the game will be compatible with the Steam Deck, I know it will be on Steam. He says as much in that video. Let's see, Moonser. It has got to be worse than freezing water that is beyond freezing. I don't know. I don't know about that, Moonser. Grind it up by a ship's propeller or freezing to death. I mean, neither one sounds like a very fun option to me. Mark says, real ghosts, not Disney ghosts. Did any of you guys ever watch that horror movie that came out? It might have been earlier this year or late last year that was filmed on the Queen Mary. I know Steve and I discussed it, and the last time I asked Steve, he said he hasn't seen it yet. So we might have to do a review of that movie for that stream, Steve. I think we're going to do that, Steve. We're going to talk about the real ghost stories on the Queen Mary, and then maybe we can also do a review of that movie at the same time. Wolf says, I've heard some stuff about the Steam Deck, but as of now, my highest priority when it comes to getting a new console is a PS5. Matt says, I'll take being frozen over being blended, right? I don't want either one, but, yikes. Oh, and speaking of movies, did anybody watch today's short that I did, that I put on the YouTube channel about Charles Lightoller? Has anyone seen that? Here we go, Olympic at sunrise, looking amazing as always. The $1 million shot of the Olympic. Got something I'm going to show you guys in just a minute here. Speaking of Olympic. Carr says the worst part about it is those propellers are dull. They're not sharp. So it's more likely you can get beat up than just rip the port apart. Well, the first shot to the head from one of those propellers, you might be instantly dead. Steve says, I hate to cut out early, but I have dinner to fix. No worries, Steve. I'm looking forward to talking with you for sure on next Friday. I think that's going to be a great discussion. I think you guys are really going to dig that. Moonzer says, I believe that someone who would definitely be with the Queen Mary in the afterlife would be Commodore Captain Jeffrey Marr and Captain John Treasure Jones. I am not familiar with any of those individuals, Moonzer. One of them's obviously a captain, of course, because his title is captain. Steve, let's talk over the weekend. Most definitely. Yep. Enjoy dinner, Steve. I ate sushi before I came on stream tonight, so I'm all full. Speaking of Olympic, guys, I've got something to show you all real quick. It is finally here. It is reality, guys. There she is. HMT Olympic. There she is. So, it's going to be a while before I can start working on this because I've gotten many models ahead of Olympic here. But I just wanted to show you guys that I finally got it. Wolf. Oh, wow. Yeah. Yes, sir. Car EFE Max says nice. Wolf, that box is a lot bigger than I expected. It's really not that big. I've got it up really close to the camera. It's more tall than it is long. Let's see. Wolf asks, "What's the hull look like?" It's not like a typical Revell hull, Wolf. I'd have to get one of the ships and kind of put them side by side to show you the main differences. Moonzer says, John Treasure Jones was the last captain of the Queen Mary, and Marr was the last commodore of the Queen Elizabeth. Okay. Let's see. Wolf says, do you plan on doing that camo? So here's the thing. Last weekend, my local modeling group, we did like a build day. And I was asking about that. I brought the model with me to show them, the camo and, how to go about doing that. And one of the guys recommended some person, excuse me, some person, and I need to get the individual's name again. And they said they basically will create like a mask for you that you can then put onto the model and then paint it. I figure that's the only way it's going to really be possible to do that dazzle, because I just can't think of any other way to do it. So it is, I have it, it's here, it's not going away, but I'm putting it on the back burner because I'm still working on that conversion of Britannic. So I need to actually, since I'm mentioning that, let me do something real quick here. Moonzer says the dazzle delivery. Oh yes, Old Reliable in her HMT scheme. Now let's see if I can do something else here real quick. I got something else to show you guys. So just bear with me a second, guys. Whoops. Nope, not you. I'm going to get this right sooner or later. Okay. Let's see. Here we go. Take a look at that, guys. Read that description real quick while I catch up with chat. Carr says, I just figured out that War Thunder is adding HMS Warspite in the next update. Oh, Wolf, you would love that. Moser says, Jeffrey Marr is one of my idols and Captain Treasure Jones. Well, Moonzer, what about, what is your opinion on Charles Lightoller? Yeah, Charles Lightoller was the subject of today's short on the channel. Do you have any thoughts on him? I'd be curious. Carr says, I know it's off topic, I just thought y'all like to know that. Yeah, definitely, Carr. Wolf says, that's awesome. Gotta love Warspite. I mean, yeah. And he also says, oh, yeah, I think the mask is going to be the only way to paint her. Yes. Moonzer, do you have any pets? Currently, no. I do not have any pets at the moment. Well, that's going to be huge. So you guys see what I'm looking at right now, aren't you? 1 to 200 trumpeter RMS Olympic ocean liner pre-order. You guys already know there is a 1 to 200 trumpeter Titanic. The length of that ship is 4 feet long. So imagine that. This Olympic will also be 4 feet long. That's pretty stinking huge. Wolf says, I wonder where all this Olympic love is coming from. I don't know, Wolf, but I think we can all agree we'll take it. Now there's something else I need to show you guys as well. So, here's something else for you guys to look at. This, as much as I love, annoys the hell out of me. Yeah, Mark, damn, big model is the awesome. Well, it's only available for pre-order right now, Wolf. It's not available for sale yet. Wolf, now we just need a Lusitania, right? One that's not $300 freaking dollars. Look at this, guys. 1 to 700 Hobby Boss. Well, it says RMS Britannic, but yeah, obviously it's not RMS Britannic. I have been working for several months. Wolf says sold out again. Well, it's not that it's sold out. They're out of stock because they're not available yet. It's only pre-order right now on both of these kits. I have been working for several months on converting a Titanic kit to a Britannic, and I am mostly finished. I am over halfway finished, and now they finally announced that there's going to be a 1 to 700 Britannic. So I've been wondering the last few days whether or not to continue with my conversion or scrap it and buy the this Hobby Boss here. I am going to show you guys my Britannic, and let's get your thoughts. Let me go grab it real quick. So, here's my Britannic, my conversion right now. This is where it's at. See, most of the decks are in place. The bridge is in place. I'm working on the boat deck right now, which has got the most. That's where the most visible conversions are or modifications. I mean, I'm really aggravated that they've announced this and I'm mostly finished with this, but I really feel like I have come too far with this to just abandon it. You know, look how I put a lot of work into this thing. So I really don't think right now I'm of the mindset that I'm going to finish it. Let's see. Carr says continue. Oh, and Wolf says after all that work with the conversion, and then they announce this. Right. But Wolf says continue. Mark says buy it anyway. I probably will, Mark. I probably will. Aaron's here. What's up, Aaron? How are you doing this week? Wolf says it's looking amazing at the moment. Well, thank you, Wolf. Aaron, hello, James, Mark, Wolf, Max, Moons. I love you all. We love you too, Aaron. I'm glad you were able to make it. Karen says you should finish your conversion. Well, right now, that's where, in my mind, that's where I'm at right now. I feel like even though they're going to do this, I just feel like I've put too much work into this to scrap it. That's where I'm at. And I put a good bit of money into it as well, buying all these conversion pieces. So, yeah, I really don't. You ask me right now, like I said, my mindset is I'm going to keep going. I'm going to try and finish it. Matt, yeah, so everyone seems to be in agreement. Matt says, don't abandon it. I think you should finish it. Wolf says, definitely not worth abandoning it. Max says, yes, continue. So, yeah, so I think all of you guys are correct. I think that's what I need to do. I was of two mindsets when I saw this the other day. I was really happy to see it, of course, that somebody's finally doing a Britannic kit, but I was a little pissed off at the same time. I'm like, man, all this work I did, and I'm not done yet. But speaking of which, while we're still on the topic of models, and this will be the last thing I'm going to show you guys before we get ready to wrap it up this evening. Who can tell me what this hull is? Not you, Wolf. Anyone can tell me what ship this is by looking at the hull. I assembled this last weekend at our little build day that we had. Something that's been sitting for a long time. Anyone know what that is besides you, Wolf? Let's get a little more footage going. Let's see. No, not that. Okay, so I'll wait for some answers. Let's see. Wolf says, on the bright side, this conversation is good experience. Let's see. Mark says, Arizona. No, it's not the Arizona, Mark. Although you are kind of close. Kind of. You're kind of close. Wolf says, I know it. I know you know it, Wolf. That's why I said you're not allowed to answer. Wolf says it's totally USS California. Yeah. No. I know you know what it is. We're looking at her right now, guys. This hull right here is the ship that we're currently looking at. Yes, there you go, Mark. The eyes of Texas are upon us. Look at that big, beautiful beast right there. So yeah, I finally got started on the Texas. And that will be a slow process as well because of the Britannic conversion. Mark, Oklahoma. Nope, Mark, you got it right the first time. You got it right. It was Texas. Wolf, I'm trying to throw off the guessers. I know you were. I know you were. But there we go. BB-35, USS Texas. Guys, we're approaching 1 hour. I delayed it a bit because we got a delayed start. But I want to go ahead and get ready to wrap things up here. Our content schedule is, as always, our weekly live streams are Friday, 7 o'clock p.m. All times are U.S. Central Time. Friday mornings at 7 is the video of the week. And Monday through Fridays, we have our random video short of the day, which is at 11 p.m. If you guys did not check out today's short, you should go and check out today's short. It's about Charles Lightoller. And not just about what he did in Titanic. Lightoller lived a long life after Titanic. Lightoller was a World War I veteran. But specifically, I focus on, in the shorts, one of the things he did, during World War II. Carl, why does everyone focus on Tex? I think you mean Texas instead of her sister, New York. I would suggest, Carr, the reason for that is because the fact that Texas is still around and she's still in the news, mostly because of her dry docking. And, the significance of the fact that she is the last dreadnought in the world to exist, couple that with the fact that she was at D-Day as well, there's a lot more to say about her, and that's probably why. Max Wolf also love New York, just don't know as much about her. Right. And it's because she didn't have quite the storied career that Texas had. And again, I think it's a lot because Texas is still relevant in the news. Wolf says, well, New York still exists. Yeah, but she's an artificial reef. Guys, that's going to wrap it up this week. Thank you all for coming in and hanging out with me as always. I appreciate it. Tune in next week. Steve's going to come talk to us about the Queen Mary. And I think you guys are going to really, really enjoy that stream. Carr says Nevada and Arkansas were both sunk in during the Bikini Atoll test. Yes, correct. That's it for this week, guys. Thanks, everyone, for watching. And as always, you guys know the drill. Until the next time, drive safely.